Second? No.
I would like. Sorry, what?
Yep, pretty good.
I would like to use this day today, one day before a new ICO starts, Internet of Coins. I would like to use the time now to invite Joachim from Internet of Coins to give us a good insight in what Internet of Coins is all about. And I would finish out myself afterwards with a few news from OpenLedger, DC, and what we have in the works at the moment. Here we have Joachim. Hello, Joachim, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Ronny. Shall I, in a moment, just start to give a small presentation of what Internet of Coins is about?
Yes, please do. I will just connect you now, or actually, Sim, my teammate, will put you up so that you can show in the, what can you say, in the big picture here. And please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So what I'll get first is I'll share the screen here so that you can see a presentation that we gave in London and Kiev as well. And then I can tell a little bit about Internet of Coins and what we're doing. So let me start the thing in full screen. There we go. Okay, so Internet of Coins. We titled the campaign we're doing "Blockchain Freedom Revolution" at coinstorm.net, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Internet of Coins. But first, what do I do? Well, in the past few years, I've been working a lot on decentralized stuff. So one of the projects I've been involved with on the distribution team is RetroShare, secure communication for everyone. And this project focuses on creating a system of decentralized peers that share a friend-to-friend network, and they communicate using encryption. It's a very interesting project because it also has things like forums that are shared decentrally. So it's a fun project to have been part of, and it's certainly something you should check out. I've also been involved in something called the Net Aid Kit, where there's this little box of hardware created by this organization, Net Aid Kit, and what they're doing is making it possible for journalists to actually communicate in dangerous parts of the world using cryptography. And so then with this little box, they don't have to know a lot about it. They just attach it to their laptop and off they go. So and the organization spearheading that was Radically Open Security, a really cool organization. So I just want to give them a mention because I've had a lot of positive experiences, and I have a lot of experience in cryptography thanks to them. Myself, I've been busy since 2012 in crypto and all kinds of blockchain related things with a company called Metasync. And yeah, so we just have done assignments with that. But we want to go full-time Internet of Coins. And in the past 2 years, we've been developing our platform, our environment for personal finance. So first, let me just start by talking about, you know, if you're talking about crypto finance, you can also talk about tokens and assets. But my favorite asset I could start with is chocolate. So chocolate has a few interesting properties, and I've listed them here. You know, everybody knows that chocolate is a consumable. It's made for eating, and it's also somewhat of a standard. So if you're eating chocolate, let's say in Denmark, or you're eating chocolate in China or somewhere else in the world, it's supposed to taste more or less the same, so that, you know, the chocolate can be called chocolate. It's also something personal, because some people like dark chocolate, some people like milk chocolate, some people like white chocolate. And personally, I think white chocolate is not really chocolate, but then again, other people think it is. So there's a personal aspect to it. It's also a symbol of, for example, freedom, or for some people, it can be the reverse if they have to produce chocolate under bad conditions. So if you think about chocolate in the sense of freedom, if you have the luxury of being able to eat it, it's very likely that you're in a part of the world where there's enough resources for you to actually be able to buy it and consume it. So then for you, it's a personal symbol at that moment of freedom. Well, I want to kind of make a crossover from that asset, chocolate, which is actually a commodity, to finance. And when you think about personal finance, well, there's this word cloud that I got from a website about personal finance. And it mentions a lot of words that people think about when they think about personal finance. But what struck me is that the biggest word on there is the word bank. So not money is the biggest word in this case, but bank. And so a lot of people that had filled in this word cloud together actually named the bank as the first thing that to them defines personal finance. So I thought that was an interesting word cloud, because personally I think about things like blockchain, but not everybody does. And so I think there's a lot of things that are still there for us to do before that happens. So if you look at personal finance and you look at also the associations or properties of that, then again, I think you can say, well, there's a symbol of freedom in personal finance, in the sense that if you have control over your own finances and you can spend them the way you want them, then that gives you more freedom. Also, if you have more funds to spend, it often gives you more freedom to do things that you want to do. But also finance makes me think of the blockchain, and it also finance makes me think of standards in the sense that in one part of the world money works more or less the same way as in the other part, and we try to standardize that internationally to make sure that when you send funds to somebody else in another part of the world, it arrives there. But at the moment, that's a whole lot of hassle with banks having to connect to each other and make sure that their standards fit so that the experience for the end user remains the same. And then finally, finance is also something personal, because in the Netherlands, I don't know how it is in other places, but in the Netherlands, it's true that when you ask somebody, hey, how much money do you have? Then, well, not everybody wants to share that, because it's also a little bit personal. So people can feel vulnerable about it. So if we look at current state of blockchain technology, I have this image here of a computer which is from the late 70s, beginning 80s. And it's one of these huge systems that uses tapes to actually retrieve and store its data. And it has a lot of little knobs and registers that you can use to change the variables and to define how the computer behaves. So it's one of the early models. Now, why do I put this picture down when I say current state of blockchain technology? It is because even though to us who are familiar with blockchain technology, I think a lot of the listeners here will have the same feeling that they're familiar with it, a lot of other people are not familiar with it. And if you wanted to make use of a computer back in the days, you'd actually have to go to a big public library or a university or a big company and actually register there to get some time behind this big machine, and to actually spend your time there to be able to input your programs. Now, that means that in those days, the computer technology was not very available to everybody. It was, for some people, much too difficult to understand. And also, it made it a bit out of reach for a lot of people, even though a lot of these public places with these big computers were free for everybody to go to. So in the blockchain industry, as it were, you can see the same thing happening at the moment. There's a lot of technologies out there. There's a lot of attempts to make them personal, to make them easy to use, but that's still quite a bit of a challenge. Because if I ask, for example, an older person, like my grandmother, for instance, do you know how to use blockchain technology? She won't even know what I'm talking about. So it's not yet close enough to the personal sphere for a lot of people to even know what it is, let alone use it. And so after this big computer, a little later, we saw the rise of personal computers. And here's an interesting one, which I believe is one that was made by Steve Wozniak back in the days, the partner of Steve Jobs. And it's a computer that actually fits on a desk. So it's a personal computer. I could have also put a picture there of, for example, an early IBM PC running the personal operating system DOS. But in any case, this picture shows that computers started to come closer to the, as it were, the regular person who did not have the knowledge or expertise to go to one of these big computers. And it became something that became more personal, became more closely related to people. So, and that's something we've been thinking about in our project, Internet of Coins. We want to make sure that computers become, not computers become, but blockchain technology becomes more personal and is put closer to the user. So the question we ask ourselves in this a lot of times is, how is blockchain technology going to change our personal lives? So we don't ask ourselves the question, how is it going to change businesses or banks? But first question for us is, how is blockchain technology going to change our personal lives? And from there, we've been designing and we've been working to create a system to make blockchain technology available, but not just one type of cryptocurrency, but all of them. So we have a few premises that we are holding to make this work. And one of the rules that we have is it should be simple to use. So everybody should be able to use it. It has to have an intuitive interface. But also it should be cross-platform. And because we're talking about finance and value, it should be secure and safe to use. So let's give a little example of a grandmother who would maybe just like to use Namecoin. And well, if she has to download this little program that's written in C, and she has to run it on her own computer and then download the entire Namecoin blockchain, which means maybe for her waiting several hours. And then after that, even not knowing how to use the little program, I think grandmother will be quite disappointed. So what we want to do is make it so easy that she only has to go to a public Internet of Coins node, which can be hosted on a website of any enthusiast that's running the node, and that she can simply log in into her own deterministic account, and then immediately, just by clicking here and there, use Namecoin. So make it much easier for grandmother. But we're also thinking a bit further, because I think in future we'll see things like stocks and other types of commodities also being denominated in cryptocurrency ideas. So I think these will be actually blockchains that will become usable. And so maybe grandmother will not be working with Namecoin, but maybe she'll be working with a stock, for example, the Nuka-Cola stock. And let's say she bought that quite a long time ago, and it's now worth more, and she wants to turn it into eco-products. So she wants to change from one stock to the other. Well, in a lot of cases, it means that grandmother will have to sell it for dollars right now at this moment, and she'll have to find another broker to buy the stock eco-products, which is, you know, at the point the grandmother buys, it's still a small stock. We have a smart grandmother here. But at the moment, that would be still quite a hassle for her. She might even have to switch banks and that kind of thing. So in the world of stocks, it's actually a hassle to switch from one stock to the other without, and especially if you don't go through the fiat money system, it's usually not possible at all. So what we want to do is work towards a system that grandmother can just simply log in. She sees all the different crypto stocks, and all she needs to do is give the command to switch the Nuka-Cola stock into eco-products, and that there will be other providers, allocators that will provide the liquidity to do so. And so that for grandmother, it's a very, very easy process. So this is just a bit of a simple real-world example of what kind of user experience we want to reach. So how are we going to do this? Well, we have the model of a transactional operating system at the core. So Hybrid contains a transactional operating system which has a processor, a scheduler, and a multiplexer. And it has a consensus system for connecting to other nodes, and it hooks in modules which make it possible to connect to any type of cryptocurrency. For the rest, if you look at the front end in the browser, we're focusing on three main key points that we think are very important. And they are interoperability, user experience, and security. And by making sure that we focus on these three, we want the user experience not just to be user-friendly from a user experience point of view, but also secure with deterministic cryptography, and interoperable, which means that any device should be able to use Internet of Coins. So, and what we want to form with this is a decentralized financial web that, just as easy as visiting a website, it should be to use cryptocurrency. Just as easy as it is to send an email, it should be easy to send a transaction or swap value over different blockchains. So one of the things we are doing now is launching Internet of Coins. And with that, we are launching a hybrid asset, which is something the platform can do. Hybrid asset is a token which actually doesn't have its own blockchain, but it lives on already existing blockchains, on top of multiple blockchains at the same time. So we have the first hybrid asset is called Hybrid. And this token will be living on 7 blockchains. And so I'm going to show them in one by one. It will be working on the counterparty protocol, on the Next platform, of course on BitShares, and on the New Economy movement platform, on the Waves platform, and also on Ethereum, and last but not least, Bitcoin via the Omni protocol. So on top of that, it runs Hybrid as a meta token, and this will be swappable between these chain systems, which means that it's a movable token in that sense. So this is basically what we're doing with Internet of Coins, and also gave you a little bit of an idea where we're heading. And if you have any questions, I'd invite you to simply ask and just ask me anything you like, and I'll try to give an answer to your questions. So thanks for listening, and go ahead and ask anything you want.
The first question is really, first of all, really applaud your IOC project from the ideological POV. However, how do you intend to take market share off of Shapeshift, for example? There's a very little counterparty risk, and it's easy to use.
Yeah, true. Well, that's indeed, it's a business question. We're actually focused on creating a quality product or a quality platform which is completely open source and also more secure. Because with Shapeshift, you still have to trust a centralized party. So, and I believe that the more we develop cryptocurrencies, the more we develop the blockchain industry, I think people will more and more start to look at the quality of what we're producing. And if we are working in a completely decentralized fashion, I think in the long run, that approach will win out. So in that way, I think we will slowly but surely be taking market share from Shapeshift to the decentralized community. And people will start preferring to work decentralized instead of via a central broker.
Okay, thank you, Joachim. And there's another question here. She's asking, what about traceability? I mean, if somebody will use this platform, is he transparent for internet provider in his activity?
No, we've implemented the platform in such a way that it uses cryptographic tunnels. We have developed a method we call an Upsilon channel, which compresses and encrypts data in transit. And it uses public-private key cryptography for this. This is tested and tried cryptography, and it also hides the activities or transactions of the users from any people trying to spy on the network.
Okay, and basically, I guess what lots of people would like to know also, of course, is when really digging down and trying to find out what is your specialty. I mean, what is the problem that you wish to solve? And I guess, I mean, probably has different answers, but maybe you can try and answer some of this.
Yeah, well, there's mainly 2 problems that we want to solve. And the first one is ease of use of cryptocurrency itself. And then multi-platform cryptocurrency. So we want to make it possible to use any cryptocurrency from the same type of wallet, so that it's simple for people to use cryptocurrency, while at the same time keeping the security at the top notch for the user, which means deterministic cryptography. We don't get to receive public or private keys to our servers, or even any Internet of Coins node operator does not get to see that. So in the browser, all the calculations are done to be able to use these cryptocurrencies, deterministic cryptography. And then secondly, the other problem we're trying to solve is how do you move value between blockchains without going through a centralized broker? Because at this point, it's still a big problem. We've already seen the rise of decentralized exchanges like OpenLedger and BitShares, and I think that's really good. I think these solve a big problem already. It makes it possible to trade in a decentralized way without having to use a centralized trading platform. But these things still happen on a single blockchain. And what we want to do is make sure that you can swap the value from one chain to the other, so you can use the decentralized exchange that you like. And then if you want to use another one, you swap to another one. And so in this way, we create more freedom for users to try out different blockchain platforms and just see which one they like best.
And I think that's yeah, that's probably the centralized part. Yeah, okay. So the centralized part in all of this, or at least avoiding that, is perhaps one of the things that many people really love, in the sense that all of it is decentralized. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can forget about Mt. Gox, Cryptsy, yeah, even Bitfinex and so on. One thing I have another question here where it's basically asking, what about the chance of locking coins in future? I mean, in a sense of some sort of side chain connected to this. Is actually, I wonder, does it make sense, this question?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because we've also been looking at locking coins and that kind of construction to make interchain swaps possible, because there's different ways you can do this. There have been interchain swaps using atomic transactions. They've been successful. That's interesting. There have also been interchain swaps where you lock the value on one chain and kind of release it on the other. But we have another approach, and that is we want to use allocation to be able to swap value so that something is not locked on a chain. We're not against locking. I think that will work. And there's some cryptocurrencies that already support this mechanism, like OBITS. And we certainly will support these coins. They're very interesting. However, if you lock value in a hybrid asset, for example, it will just be sticking around without that you can spend it. And we want to make sure that if you have an asset that is interchain, that it's continuously also spendable, and that no parts of it need to be locked up. So, but that doesn't mean that locking cryptocurrencies are not useful. They serve a different interesting purpose, and the fungibility of each of these mechanisms is something we will be researching, and we will also try and make these technologies available. So not just our swap mechanism, but also atomic transactions where they're applicable, or locking if that's handy. So, and then the user can choose which ones they want to use.
How do you see the specific point in regards to when people want to, well, trade from one platform? I mean, in terms of liquidity, yeah. How do you make that happen? I mean, I'm seeing let's say 7 to 8, eventually, yeah, a whole lot of different assets, or at least we're speaking assets. There's 7 at the moment. So 7 different assets, all called hybrid, on each of the asset exchanges, and they obviously need a liquidity to allow this jumping back and forth. How do you see that happen?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, a lot of decentralized exchanges work with order books, and then you also see sometimes that there are liquidity problems there. So we're going to go from the other way around. Instead of making liquidity available via order books, we're going to make it available via the process of allocation. So what users can do is they can put their hybrid assets up for allocation, and that will earn them fees. This works differently than an order book where you set the price. In our allocation system, the Internet of Coins system is going to grab prices from the decentralized exchanges, and if it cannot find reliable prices there, it will default back to the centralized exchanges if necessary, and then set the price automatically for the assets. So a user can just click on allocate for his assets, and at that moment his hybrid assets are allocated and can be used to swap between chains. So that means the user can walk away from his wallet or log out and not have to worry about the price or whatnot. And because these assets are only swappable one-on-one, the user will always get a dependable fee and doesn't have to be afraid of price fluctuations eating into his capital. So that's the way we're going to make them swappable across chains with a high amount of liquidity. And then the DEXs will be responsible for trading those back into a cryptocurrency. If we can generate enough liquidity there, that remains to be seen. But we want to do this together with people that are trading on the DEXs and together with technologies like lagooning to make sure that this liquidity will also be there. So, on the DEX part, it will be more experimental, but swapping between the chains, we expect there to be enough liquidity there.
I have another thing. I'm just thinking, and it's basically come to my mind in the recent days when I've been in touch with the different communities for who will be represented on the Internet of Coins initially, and I was just thinking, how can I mean, my first idea would say that I could see a point of actually creating a token that I would like to do a crowd sale for instance. I could create the similar token on each of these asset exchanges and allow the community on each asset exchange to basically invest into the token with a certain set value points. Yeah, so obviously whoever is buying in a certain, a somewhat bigger amount of total tokens, but when it comes down to it, there's one token for it all. And on the coin market cap, you would see, of course, one value for all of this. How do you see that happen in the, I mean, would there be a chance somehow in the future to basically, let's say, present the hybrid as that specific coin or asset token representing all of them and allowing, I mean, basically people invest with that and bring value to all the different assets. I mean, how, I'm not exactly seeing that specific part, but can you kind of help me on the way in there? I mean, would it be possible to use the asset as a unifier of tokens of all these assets? When you speak,
I believe so. Because if you look, let's say we take the example of Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is an asset in the class cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and out of Bitcoin came forth a lot of other cryptocurrencies. We have hybrid, which is the first hybrid asset, and out of that could come forth a lot of different types of hybrid assets later on that are used for other purposes. And actually, I hope that happens. Why? Because then it gives people more choice. So I think this development is a bit further down the road. I think at least for 1.5, maybe 2 years, there will only be hybrid as a hybrid asset. But I hope that in the future, there will be more types of hybrid assets that have their own use case, that have their own niche that they fill. Just like that, there's many types of cryptocurrencies that have their own niche. And in that way, you can create more liquidity in the cryptocurrency markets, but also, I think, more security, because if we all trust in only one blockchain, well, we can see that with Bitcoin, there have already sometimes been some issues of mining centralization, and also the network being attacked because it's the most visible cryptocurrency. So I think it would be good to also diversify the risks there. And that's why I hope that hybrid assets will catch on as not just this token that we're creating, but later on as a concept where people say, hey, but of course we should use a hybrid asset because with multiple blockchains, there's more security, or at least the risk is diversified across the chains.
Okay, so you see it actually as a unified value. I mean, allowing. Well, I mean, would you actually this way be able to say I buy so and so much hybrid tokens? I mean that specific asset, yeah. Or do you? What would be the way around actually, let's say, investing into a project? Would you be investing with the hybrid, or would you be investing with, let's say, BitShares or Ethereum or NEM or so on, through the hybrid, or what? How do you see it?
I think that it really depends on the choice of the person organizing the fundraiser at that moment. You could go both ways because I think many of these cryptocurrencies that already exist are functioning just fine. So you could say you use a hybrid asset only as a converter of value. That's possible, where you accept crowdfunding funds, and at that moment, the hybrid asset is only used to convert it to a unified value. But you could also say, if you want to, I'll create a hybrid asset specially for that crowdfund, and then you at that moment unify its value there. The handy thing about the hybrid asset in any case, in any which way you do this, is that the decentralized exchanges can play a role in crowdfunding. And so it's no longer going to be the centralized exchanges defining the beat for everybody. Right now, if a centralized exchange says, okay, we don't want a cryptocurrency anymore, at that moment the cryptocurrency goes down in value. Cryptocurrencies are almost forced to stay relevant on a centralized exchange, because at the whim of their politics, they can decide if the cryptocurrency is allowed to be on there or not. With decentralized exchanges, that's different, because even if there's very little liquidity, a decentralized exchange will just keep on listing an asset, and people will still be able to trade it as long as anybody wants to buy or sell it. So that's a very different way of approaching cryptocurrency, and I think it's also a better way to approach it. Just like if we don't like a website, we won't visit it, but it doesn't mean that the website just disappears. It's still online, and if anybody ever becomes interested in it again, they can visit it. But right now with the exchanges, it's as if a non-interesting website, or in this case a non-interesting cryptocurrency, is just pulled offline, and then only very technical users can still use it. And I think that's something sad. So I think we should make it possible for every cryptocurrency to just stick around and let the market decide their value.
So if I say, basically, from what I understand, when is it that you expect the hybrid token to be active or to be rolled out as an active token? When can we see that?
Well, we want to give them out, distribute them the 1st of July. And we're going to do our best to make sure that the Internet of Coins wallet beta is ready at that point. And then people can choose if they want to receive their hybrid asset on the beta wallet, or if they feel better about using their own favorite cryptocurrency system, they can also choose one of the 7 chains, one of the 7 chain systems that we've put the first hybrid asset on to receive their hybrid asset. So, for example, also BitShares can be used to receive hybrid, but then in this case, the parts of hybrid that reside on BitShares. So in the Internet of Coins wallet, you can receive any hybrid part, but on BitShares platform as it currently stands, you'll be able to receive the BitShares part of hybrid. So it kind of depends what choice people have made there, which platform they can receive it on. But it's a choice they can make at that point.
So just going back, because I love this concept of actually acting or interacting on the asset exchanges in general, and I really, this is really what I see as a future when it comes to all this, I have hybrid tokens, but in general, even when you're building businesses on top of these asset exchanges, imagine that all of these businesses built on each of all of these exchanges or asset exchanges, that we can suddenly build a world of asset exchanges where we all trade among each other or amongst each other. Yeah. And I may be slow on this, but maybe, I mean, do I see, if I'm gonna invite people to buy into an ITO and say we're considering all these 7 currencies, am I to say in my introduction hybrid Ethereum, hybrid BitShares, hybrid, or how am I gonna let these different these different holders one could imagine that there's an amount of Ethereum holders who then hold hybrids, and they say, well, basically it's accepted there as hybrids from Ethereum. Or how do I differentiate? I mean, there would be 7 at the moment, 7 different hybrids.
Well, yes,
variations,
yeah, technically, indeed, they are 7 different hybrids because technically you cannot actually move an asset off a chain to another. But from a usability point of view, they will be a unified hybrid. Why? Because using swaps, which gives people incentives, you can still move the value from the one chain to the other. So you can, for example, if you have Ethereum hybrids and you want to trade them on BitShares, you can swap them one-on-one to the BitShares environment. And then you can start trading them there. Because somebody who offers their BitShares hybrids to swap for Ethereum hybrids using the Internet of Coins wallet, at that moment earns a very small fee because it's transferred from one chain to the other. And the person that has offered the allocation swap will then be left with the Ethereum hybrids, and he will have given away his BitShares hybrids. So there's 2 things to consider here. One is that when you're an allocator, you give the hybrids for allocation swapping. At that moment, you cannot use them to trade on the DEX because you're having both of them allocated for swaps. They're basically reserved for only for that activity. But if you're a user that wants to trade, you'll say, I don't want to allocate them anymore. I deallocate them, and I swap them to the chain I want, and then I start trading them on the DEX. And when you trade them, for example, on the BitShares DEX, that has nothing to do anymore with the Internet of Coins wallet, because then they'll be moved off the wallet, and they will be in the decentralized exchange of BitShares, and there they will be actively and lively traded live. And then after the person has either earned or lost value in trading, he can transfer them back to the wallet or keep them on the wallet of BitShares. So it's kind of something that connects these systems together. But in itself, it's a swapping system, but not a trading system, because an Internet of Coins swap is always one-on-one. It's not an order book swap like a decentralized exchange has.
So does that allow me to create an asset or a token, which, what can you say? You have the hybrid now on this hybrid blockchain. But would I be able to create another token inside the system of Internet of Coins, which would basically unify the different asset exchanges for that specific project? Let's say we call it Mac. We create a smart coin for McDonald's, and we do the crowdfunding over McDonald's or something. Yeah, and we basically allow the 7 asset exchanges to be the crowdfunding positions for those. Would I be able to create a specific token for that, and then using it the same way as hybrid? Would that be possible, or do I actually have to? Because that was initially what I was thinking: create a token just like the hybrid on every single one. But obviously, that is a lot of manual work if you are kind of in a position where you're saying, okay, we are OpenLedger, we are creating a token on Ethereum, one on Waves platform, and etc. And all of these 7, we create the same name, same token representing one specific business.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it very tedious, or obviously I could see the Internet of Coins as that factor allowing those tokens to be unified. Is that the way? Is that doable, or is it only the hybrid that you're thinking of, or are you able actually later on to offer things like this at the same time?
Yeah, that's the future where we want to go, because right now it's not possible, but we are building towards that, because I think it would be good for users to easily be able to launch their own hybrid assets in the future. So we also had the question once, so like somebody asked us, he wanted to participate in the ITO, maybe to make a quick buck, I don't know, but he asked, like, okay, but if there's going to be more hybrid assets, then hybrid will be worthless. And I said, well, that's that's something you could think, but I don't think that's going to happen, because just like Bitcoin is not worthless, it all starts somewhere. So with us, it starts with hybrid as a first unifying asset. And for quite a while, that will be the first unifying asset, because creating the technology to make it all easy and simplified for the user is a little bit more work than it sounds. And so I think for a long time yet, hybrid will be the de facto way to switch between the chains. But I'm very enthusiastic to see that later on, I hope, there will be more possibilities for other tokens that will also be living on multiple blockchains. And maybe some people will say, I want a token that is only on 2 chains, like there's already some projects underway trying to create linkages between, for example, Bitcoin and ETH. Well, I'm not against that. Personally, I like it when a token is usable across as many systems as possible. So that's where hybrid will be going. It will add new systems later on to expand and expand. But maybe some people want to have some limits, and that's also good. So I think there should be choice there for the users themselves to decide what they want to do.
You could actually create basically a market. I mean, a hybrid versus that other business token, right? And then you could actually swap into the hybrid, and with the hybrid, you could actually then take it, all over the other 7 exchanges, right?
Yeah.
And you could, in fact, you could perhaps even say that you have a certain value of that specific business on Ethereum, and you want to move that to BitShares.
Yeah.
And you do that via the hybrid.
Yeah.
And this way I can actually rest tranquil that there is a way automatically to do that without me to be involved. So I guess we solved the issue in that sense, because I'm just saying it because I have the freelancer platform coming up very soon, where I really want to interact with all these different exchanges, and I see a great future then for the Internet of Coins to be an active part of that, and it's a pleasure in itself. So okay. And I have another question from somebody here who is basically asking, what gives this swap coin value? I mean, this is a pretty important question, I guess. What gives the swap coin value? Why should I invest in it in terms of return of investment?
Yeah. Well. We treat this crowdfund not as an investment because legally that has issues. So if you want to treat it as an investment from the point of view of cryptocurrency user, that is something that's really something that you'll have to do by yourself. But I can tell you why I think hybrid is valuable, because I think that the functionality that hybrid offers is going to be unique for quite a long time. And that it will be the functionality of being able to swap between chains without having any intermediary. And it will be a highly liquid swap. So if that does not give a token inherent value, I don't know what does, because I see a lot of tokens out there that have less functionality but are still valuable. So I believe that that this in itself is a good proposition to have value.
And then there's another question here. It says, am I exposed to price volatility as an allocator? Could you give an example of how allocation works?
Yeah. Well, if you hold Bitcoin, you are also exposed to volatility. If you hold euros, you're exposed to volatility. So are you exposed to volatility? Yes. But will you be exposed to volatility between different hybrids? No. So the token itself, of course, will be volatile just like any other token is. But it will not be volatile between the chains, because the swap that happens on Internet of Coins is always one-on-one. So, and if there's a difference in price of one hybrid part towards the other, then arbitrageurs will, of course, jump on it to pull them back into balance, because, of course, that will be an opportunity for trade. So, oh, what was the second part of the question? Could you ask that one again?
Yes. How does, I mean, could you give an example of how the allocation works?
Is that technical or from a user perspective?
I think it's from a user perspective in terms of, I mean, the allocator himself, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, the person who's allocating, because the question goes, am I exposed to price volatility as an allocator? And could you
no, not directly, at least not in the wallet where you're allocating. So basically, let's say my grandmother has hybrid tokens and she knows how to log into her wallet on Internet of Coins. Then the way she allocates it is as follows. She logs in, she goes to the screen where she sees her hybrid assets, and then she clicks on the button allocate. And that's it. So it's supposed to be very simple. And at that moment, her hybrid assets on the different chains that she has are sent to special addresses that have their private key kept in a swarm of users. So not a single user can take control of it. And they will be made available on the node that grandmother uses to do swaps. And so when somebody wants to swap, the liquidity will be there for other users to do the swap. So when grandmother wants to use her hybrids again, or maybe wants to sell them on a decentralized exchange, she can click again on the button which she used to allocate, which will then be deallocate, and it will restore control to her for the tokens. So they will be sent back to her active wallet, and she can then send them to the decentralized exchanges that she wants to trade them on, so that she can trade them back into BitShares or Bitcoins or you know, what have you. So that's how it will work from a user perspective.
Okay, and I have another question popping up here. It says, can we expect a mobile app? I mean, can we build a service on top of Internet of Coins?
Yes. The current implementation, node implementation, contains its own views for a wallet. So we'll have a GUI. This one also works on mobile. We are also creating a GUI specifically for mobile devices to make it a bit easier for mobile. But that one's in a very early stage, and we're going to first put priority on the normal web client. So it's coming, but if somebody else can do it faster and wants to use the REST API of Internet of Coins, you're of course invited to help out, because you know, if we can do this faster, I think that's great. So if you want to help out there, definitely just get on the chat or on email and let us know if you want to take part. But yes, a mobile app is coming, and I think a lot of other types of applications. We also hope that people will want to build something to accept payments into this multi-chain wallet to make it really easy. We ourselves will certainly do that in the general client as well. So we're working on all these simple use cases that you expect to use in a payment and financial wallet, so that people don't necessarily feel the difference between their bank application, as it were, and ours, but that from a user perspective, it's all just as easy.
Thank you very much, Joachim. I think also what could be nice to know, basically to follow up and really continue to see what's happening with Internet of Coins. I mean, it starts tomorrow with the ITO itself. And what time is it exactly? I mean, it may be 18 hours from now.
Yeah.
And of course, worth mentioning that there's a 5% discount up until that time, an early bird entering. And what I was thinking was, what are the channels of communication at the moment? I mean, in terms of Slack, Telegram, Facebook, or whatever. What do you have, and maybe what is coming?
Yeah, if you go to coinstorm.net/chat, you can actually see there is a chat window which contains a Freenode IRC chat. But it's not just an IRC chat. It's connected to Slack, it's connected to Riot, it's connected to Telegram, and so it's a bridged communications system. We like to bridge stuff, so we also bridge the chat. And so some of us prefer Slack, some of us prefer Mumble, some of us prefer IRC. And so in that way, you can get many users, developers, and interested people to hang out in their own favorite place. But the communication crosses over the boundaries and makes it possible for everybody to communicate together. And so if you want to talk to us, just go there and start a chat, and then we can tell you anything you want to know.
And again, another thing, Joachim, where can interested people, I mean, is there a place where you are listing basically your traveling schedule, where people could come and meet up and hear more about Internet of Coins? I know that you are going to be traveling quite a bit, so I'm just thinking maybe, is that through those channels that you're going to tell that, or where could they find out?
I think through those channels would be handy. And yes, next month I will be in Thailand and in Singapore, so you can find me there. I will try to look up the community there, and also we will hope to organize a CoinFest on the 7th of April. So members of our team in the Netherlands will be organizing it in the Netherlands. In Germany, our team hopes to be there, and of course I will be in Asia. So I'd love to meet crypto enthusiasts there and then talk to you. And if you want to know more, then yeah, let's go and chat.
And I think you're going to be in CoinFest also?
Yes.
Where's that? Is that in Manchester?
CoinFest is a decentralized initiative. So it's a decentralized party. And so it happens all across the world. Anybody who wants to organize a CoinFest can do it. And Andrew Wagner started the idea, and he has a website with some information. And it also shows where the bigger CoinFests are taking place. But if you're organizing your own CoinFest, just go ahead and write him and say, Andrew, list mine too, because then people will know where to find you.
So you mean to say that we could actually swap from CoinFest to CoinFest?
Yes, you can. Yeah, in this case, you have to use the airplane. There's no hybrid functionality there, unless you have a hybrid car, of course.
Time will come for that as well, I think, yeah? All right. Well, I mean, Joachim, I think to sum up everything now, I think that we have given the viewers quite a nice introduction to Internet of Coins. If there's anything you'd like to add here in the end, please tell me now. I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. I don't think so. It seems like people are satisfied for now, and obviously there's a way to get hold of more. And I think that OpenLedger, as a partner with Internet of Coins, will be doing really everything in coming month and two to really push forward the knowledge and awareness of Internet of Coins, and we're looking very much forward for that. I see the potential of even using it, of course, as I mentioned, in some of the activities that we'll be doing in future. So it makes great sense to have added Internet of Coins as a future partner in these projects.
Thanks, Ronny.
Thank you very much, Joachim.
Yeah.
What would you like to end up with saying?
Yeah, well, thanks for all the support from OpenLedger, from the BitShares community, and from other cryptocurrency communities. Currently, we are also going to go by each one, at least first the 7 that are part of the hybrid, and interviewing each one of them. And then they will be posted on News BTC TV, which is currently interested in hearing a little bit about all these communities. For the rest, if you want to look at what we're doing, go to coinstorm.net or internetofcoins.org, and it shows the website with more information about our crowdfund. And if you just if you are interested in knowing anything more about the projects, just go ahead and go over to the chat and let us know who you are and what you'd like to know.
Thank you very much, Joachim. I would like to round up today. First of all, once again, Joachim, thank you very much. Let me round off this session by introducing just telling a little about what's coming up in the next coming months in terms of ITOs or similar inside our own community as such. We have, just so that for anybody who doesn't know, we have a geo game coming up. It has nothing really to do with crypto as a base, and this is the Dynamis geo game I'm talking about. It has a premiere, or will be launched international on May 15th. Why I'm including that is because we introduced that on a platform we call GetGame. GetGame will have its own, what can you say, officially company registration number by next week, I guess, and we will actually start pushing this platform and the presentation of it using Dynamis at the time of its launch on the 15th of May. Basically, we'll be able to say that we have had a worldwide recognized game at this time in alpha stage, presented as up until the beta stage on GetGame, and then actually given the wings and go out there and work on its own. And Dynamis will have its value through the monetization of actually 7 different ways, but the main important part is, of course, the downloads, the leveling up, where the value is coming via Google App Store and Apple App Store, and the second one will be the contracts we will be creating through bigger organizations and fun parks, etc., worldwide, where they pay for advertising inside this augmented geo game. So this one will have given, it's already allocated 5% of those future value or future revenues will actually go to GetGame and its token reality. We will be introducing at the time of the launch, or actually just prior to it, we'll be introducing a second game. And this second game will actually be quite interesting because it will have the functionality combining augmented game and playing. It would be mainly with target group children playing the adult work, earning money through doing the work of the adults on the blockchain. So that would be a very interesting project, and I will not say much more on that one right now, but the point is here that we will be presenting an alpha model, basically a proof of the platform, as well as a new project when we will do the ITO of the Get game, which is expected something like end of May, probably even earlier if we have all the strongholds there. So that was an important part, and of course another one is the fact that we have almost ready to do an early bird on our freelancer platform, where we will allow basically startups worldwide to meet up with developers worldwide. They are expected, of course, to find their match. I mean, almost fall in love. That is the real reason why. I mean, falling in love is so much to say, but the idea is to say what my Forbes contributor once said: how can we create an article where startups and developers, like a dating portal for startups and developers? And it all makes sense here. Yeah, you are basically, we're creating a platform where we will allow startups and developers to find that exact match to complete a full structure of development from the early, basically you could say this what is it called, the 6 phases of mechanical design. Yeah, so you have the mechanical design where you start off with the ideas and so on, and you move on to the conceptualization and all. This is basically where we will present a platform where the final what can you say, product on that platform will be including Gantt charts, milestones, and everything needed to include in an ITO, so that any investors and anyone outside will actually come in and say, wow, this is well formulated, this is all ready to go. There's people who's given the necessary calculated data to give an estimated overview of the costs here. And we have a 4th party who basically went in and approved of the functionality. So this is in a nutshell a little bit about the EDA, but it will of course allow so much more, because we'll be creating a reputation-based token for the developers to enjoy, not only as a form of payment, but also to elevate their value on the platform until a certain time where they will in fact be rewarded with the possibility of receiving their own token, basically supported and what can you say, valued, or the value will be based on the reputation given from that platform. So the strength of that specific token tied to that specific developer will have a high value, of course, and he will be able immediately to be trading that on one of these asset exchanges that we're gonna be using. And he can basically set his own price, because at that time, of course, everybody will want his expertise. He will be an expert at this point. So by finishing off by these 2 things, more information on this will come within the next 3 to 4 weeks. I would like to close this tonight's session. We will be traveling basically also. I mean, Joachim will be traveling. Myself will also be traveling from now on quite a bit. And the first time will be, I believe, in the Block Show in Munich on the 6th of April, and then at Coinfest in Manchester on the 7th. And then we will be going onwards for to meet up with the people in Singapore, Tokyo, and China end of April, early May. And we hope again to actually meet up in New York later on in May for the consensus. And all of this will be a part of introducing these new projects, and hopefully to be involving as many of the asset exchanges in these projects as possible. And obviously, with great focus on Internet of Coins as well. Thank you very much to all of you for coming in here tonight. I see a nice show today, so some of the promotion we did actually may have turned out to be successful. It is nice to see that we increase the viewers every time, and obviously that is the whole idea. Thank you very much for now, and see you again soon. I'm checking out from here. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.